So long as like alchemy.
We out here, USA. All right, here we go, y'all. NBA Alchemy. I know it's been about a week. Y'all saw I worked on that Luka Doncic video. That's what backed me up, a little something different, a little cinematic thing. Go check it out if you haven't. So what do we have? What's the date? December 17th, Monday. And there's been quite a bit of stuff that's gone on since I've last hollered at y'all with my takes. Those of you looking for a big breakdown of Raptors, Warriors, and what happened with that, I'm not going to get too deep into that. Y'all know where to go get that. Patreon, $1 a month. I'm asking for $2. And if you're a hardcore Dubs fan, I have yet to have someone hit me like, yo, Alk, this isn't what I expected. Everybody's like, it's a no-brainer, man. I should have signed up earlier. The amount of effort I put into it, the amount of detail and breakdown into each game, go get that if you're a true Warrior fan and you want immediate reactions and breakdowns of each Warrior game. Don't get it twisted. I'll continue to talk Warriors here, but now that game is kind of a little behind us. I don't want to get too deep into it. I will say, Fred VanVleet, I was very impressed with what he did with Steph. And you saw the effort from Toronto. They out-executed Golden State, and they out-efforted them. Is that a word? Efforted them on the back end of a back-to-back. But I will say, big picture, this has been a trend with the Raptors. It's interesting because Nick Nurse has been on that bench, and he knows what happens come playoff time. It doesn't seem like they're pacing themselves that well, right? Obviously, Kawhi is resting. But if you look at their lineup, like take last night against Denver, they had half their roster out. Guys are chipped up. The young guys and the effort level, it's nice, right? But it's a marathon, not a sprint. And it'll be interesting to see how much juice is in their battery come playoff time if they're out to prove every night that this is a new Raptors team. But anyway, yeah, go check the full breakdown. And that's like 15 minutes. I want to talk a bit about the Lakers. You saw the triple doubles from LeBron, Zoe, and Charlotte, and he held Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker is really fun to watch, y'all. I know it's an East Coast early games if you're out on the West Coast like myself, but Kemba Walker is one of the more fun players to watch in the league. He is spectacular. And you saw the Lakers getting up and down. It was a track meet. And Lonzo's getting better, man. He is. I'll be the first. I never thought he would burn out of the league. I just was disappointed in his mentality and his confidence level. I know he was a rookie, but there was just certain things that I didn't like in a snap judgment. But one thing I will take notice of is he is catching and shooting much quicker. Now, is it actually physically his release? It looks quicker. His footwork is getting better. But I wonder if it's actually physically getting better or it's his mental decision to take the shot is getting quicker, and that's what's making it look faster. Either way, it's quicker, and that's helping his jumper, right? He's becoming more of a spacer. And then in the open court, man, he looks like an injured greyhound or whippet or something, man. He's still fast, but there's a weird chug, but he gets up and down the court with the best of them, and that's really where he shines. He still has to learn to slow down a little bit. And even in transition, like from three-point line to three-point line is where you really hit the gas, right? You're turbo. But once you get to the paint, the elite guys slow down a little bit and it enables them to finish at a higher rate. And Lonzo, I don't think he quite understands his size yet. 6'6", he's put on some weight. And you see him even in a half-court set where if he took one more dribble, either the lane's going to open up or his gravity is going to become greater for his shooters on the perimeter. And he's just a little quick to pass the ball, and everything is very fast, really speedy. And that's cool. That's cool that he has that. But again, back to his size, I think that not everything needs to be done with speed with him. And he'll figure that out because he is a bigger point guard, right? And so once he beats his guy or he gets where he's going, he can slow down a bit, and he's just fine at 6'6". And that's going to make him more efficient and more effective. But I like what I see from him. I do. I can't front. One thing I will point out, Laker fans, though, is you notice now JaVale was out with the flu last night, and that was just a whipping, right? That was a whipping. I'll talk a little bit about the other side of that. But one thing I've noticed is Tyson Chandler, the honeymoon is over. Don't get me wrong. It was a great acquisition because it was for nothing. But what you're seeing is the last few years in Phoenix, he hasn't been asked to do really anything. He's just been chilling, you know what I'm saying? Stretching, doing practice, warm-ups and stuff. And so for a couple of weeks, he had a lot of energy, right? Tyson was out there just showing he's still got it. He's happy to be home. And now you're seeing him slow down a little bit because, one, the pace the Lakers play up and down, and then and then his age, his body, I'm sure he's starting to feel it in his knees and his back, being asked to contribute every night. So I think that Luke and the Lakers need to monitor his usage moving forward and make sure he's good for the playoffs, because it's obvious how important he is to manning the paint and just being that back line of defense. I guess the last thing I want to say about the Lakers is LeBron. One thing I'll credit him, because I was complaining, those of you're back to the Warriors in that blowout. I'm not one that I'm not of the philosophy that you leave your stars in them in a blowout. I don't like that. Maybe if you're Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum, so, context matters. It matters their age and their level of stardom. But when you're Steph Curry, you're Klay Thompson, you're LeBron James, you're Russell Westbrook, you're in the prime or the back end of your prime. I'm not with that. And the Lakers and LeBron runs his own shit, let's be real. But LeBron, he knows when to pack that shit in, right? He knows when he ain't coming back in. And I'm alluding to that Wizards game last night. And you see Steve Kerr, he'll roll the 4 All-Stars back out in the fourth quarter down 25. And I know we've seen some explosions, but again, it's risk reward, and I'm not really with it. You saw Livingston get chipped up at the end of that game. I don't like that philosophy from Kerr, but it's kind of an old school thing. Lakers, one thing I will point out is, and this, I'm not telling Laker fans, I'm not telling y'all something you don't know, the free throws are going to be a problem. I heard them read off the stat that it was so many consecutive games, like 10 consecutive games, that LeBron's missed 2 or more free throws. And we all know come playoff time, there's going to be those end-of-game situations where it just becomes a trip to the line, back and forth, man. And you just look at the finals and what happened there. What else? I know. So I'm going to get into this Ariza trade here in a second. And I know the Lakers had their eye on him, but I just thought it was ironic. LeBron kind of told KCP, like, look, man, either hand is the upper hand. You feel me? And it's ironic because KCP, you could argue right now, is like their third best player. I'm not saying like big picture overall. I'm just saying like right now in the last 10 days, KCP, I just like his aggression, the corner 3 balls going for him, and his confidence. And, it'll be interesting to see if they continue to dangle him as an asset, or they're like, all right, we're going to need this dude for the playoffs, because he looks like one of the guys that comes playoff time, when the lights are on, I don't think he's going to be scared, So it'll be interesting to see how they handle that. If LeBron maybe wants to smooth things over with that, I know, that they share the same age, and that's an interesting situation to monitor. Now, back to that Laker game just last night, John Wall. This is why I'm so hard on Wall. You see games like this is why I'm so hard on Wall. And man, he must have left the club early that morning, right? Because he had the juice. And it's funny because it's different. I know he got really hot from shooting. I know he got really hot from the perimeter, I should say. And you're like, well, he ain't going to shoot like that. I know, but it's different. It's different. Sometimes you see, there's heat check artists. Terrence Ross comes to mind right now. Even Klay Thompson, and when you're just like, oh, he's just on fire today. That you can't replicate that all the time. But it was different because I know the 3 ball was falling for Wall, and that's tough when he is hitting that. But he dominated the game in every aspect. Defensively, refs swallowed their whistles, I will say that. But defensively, pushing in transition, bulldozing his way to the rim, and then the jumper started falling. And so contextually, it's like he could play like that a lot more. And his assertiveness, his attention to detail. And I think, honestly, if you recall last year, I think it goes back to the Lakers. They said he averages more points against the Lakers than any team. But it goes back to Lonzo, LeVar talking that shit. I think he likes to go at Lonzo. And, man, he went at Lonzo. And Washington now acquiring Trevor Ariza, that's a big move for them. I know it was just a few weeks ago. I was like, get Scotty Brooks all the way out. Get everybody all the way out. have a supplemental draft with all these niggas. Nah, but the East, and this has been the story for this is 10 years, right? You don't exactly have to be world beaters to creep into the playoffs into the Eastern Conference, though obviously the top is much improved. So they still have playoff aspirations making this move. Oubre Jr., it's very hard to judge him given the turmoil that he's been raised in as a player, right? The dysfunction of the Wizards. So, the jury's going to still be out on him. He's a young talent. Obviously, they weren't going to be able to pay him, so it is what it is. They move him. Ariza, they're going to play him at the 4, man. And now, all of a sudden, you get Otto Porter back. You got these 2 shooters in the corners with Wall and Beal. If that 5 spot, they got the young dude at the 5 spot. By the way, he kind of a dog. I like that dude. Someone remind me of his name, Bryant or something. He was the former Laker. So, it looks like Washington's going to right the ship here and hang into the playoffs. And I'm with it. I like it because I'm still, as much as shit as I talk about Wall, I'm still intrigued with his talent, right? He's an enigma. And so I think that's a big move for them. I like that they went and got him. I'm surprised that they were the team that I'm glad Ariza went East. I'll put it to you like that. And I think KD's glad too. And that's not to say KD doesn't love the challenge, but you know what I'm saying. The Suns, I kind of like it, man. I kind of like it. And I think that this deal kind of worked out better than either of the Brooks. Dylan Brooks has got some dog in him, but he's very limited in his physical attributes, right? Oubre is a much more talented player, but he's not as polished. But now you look at the Suns here, nothing to lose, keep in mind. And here's what I do. If I'm Igor Kokoskov, I knew I shouldn't have tried to pronounce that, but I roll out Ayton. I put Oubre at the 4, right? I got Josh Jackson at the 3, obviously Book at the 2, and Austin Rivers at the 1. You say, I don't know about that, right? 1, what do you have to lose? And now all of a sudden you're super athletic, play fast, and let them loose. Play fast and aggressive. Because Austin Rivers is, for all the hate he gets, I think there's a little bit of, he's underrated. He's proven. Now, he wasn't engaged in Washington. He wasn't like part of what was going on. But if you put the ball in his hands and let him feel engaged with the team, he's shown in the past that he's got some dog in him. He's kind of feisty, right? His decision-making is iffy. And you could see him and Book kind of like, hey, it's my, give me the ball type of thing, right? But at this point, again, what do you have to lose? You roll out an athletic lineup like that, and Oubre has some dog in him too. He'll make some head-scratching plays, but then he'll make a play where you're like, ooh, he's athletic lefty and can somewhat space the floor. And then Josh Jackson, I know that they favor TJ Warren's the more polished player right now. I think at this point, it makes no sense to not play Josh Jackson. Like, what do you have to lose? It's a sunken cost. You have to see what you have, let him roll out there, whether you tank and you lose or he finds something. But you got to play guys that are hungry and thirsty. And so I'm interested to see that athletic lineup with young Ayton and just see if they can play faster. I think it'll help Ayton as well, because I know that Igor is, coming from a European background, they don't necessarily want to make it a track meet, right? They want to execute, but he doesn't necessarily have the personnel for that. I guess that's it for this one. I'll be back. Again, check that Luka Doncic video if you haven't. I'm very proud of what I did with that. And I'm going to keep dropping these, but I'm also going to bring y'all some different type of videos, some shorter ones, and just some more unique stuff to help the channel grow. And a lot of you that have been watching my stuff for a while, like, Alk, man, your channel's not growing. I love what you're doing here, but what's going on? And I agree. So if you, for whatever reason, don't want to join the Patreon or whatever it is, what you can do is hit the notification bell, right? If you're subscribed, that's cool, but get the notifications and come so you know when I drop a new video, and that helps the numbers grow as well. I'm out, y'all.
I've been winning so long, it's like alchemy.